In 2014, during the demolition of an abandoned law firm in the Pacific Northwest, a startling discovery was made: a cache of deteriorated audiocassette tapes buried in the basement amongst legal document boxes. These tapes, initially presumed lost to time, held within them a harrowing that had unfolded between 1988 and 1995. Events that documented the experiences of those who claimed to have encountered Bigfoot. The tapes were in a fragile state, weathered by decades of neglect, and their content was nearly lost forever. Yet, recognizing the potential significance of these recordings, a massive effort was launched to recover and restore what could be salvaged from this cryptic archive. Lost Bigfoot Tapes, 1988 to 1995, are an oral history offering a chilling glimpse into the unexplained events that unfolded over those 7 years.
Name's Bill Watson. I drive trucks. Been doing it for near on 25 years now. Look, I ain't here 'cause I want to be, all right? Y'all threaten my job if I don't spill about that night. So here goes. But I'm telling you, this ain't no normal shit. I was on my usual run, yeah? Pushing 20 hours straight, popping pills to stay awake. Don't give me that look, everyone does it. Gotta make ends meet somehow. Anyway, I'm cruising down 101 somewhere in Oregon. It's dark as hell and let's say I'm a bit wired. Had the radio on, trying to stay alert. Sweet Child of Mine was playing, you know, that new Guns N' Roses song. Thought it might keep me going. So I'm driving, right? And this thing just appears out of nowhere. At first I thought it was the pills messing with me, but nah, this was real. Huge, hairy, standing like a man, but not a man. I slammed on the brakes and it turned and looked at me. Those eyes, man, they were glowing, like actually glowing. I know what you're thinking. It slammed its hand on my hood, thought it was going to crush the whole truck. Then it was gone, faster than anything that big should move. I sat there shaking, partly because of what I saw, partly because I was coming down hard. It was big, real big. Had to be at least 8 feet tall, maybe more, covered in this dark matted fur. But it wasn't like no bear, nothing I've ever seen. It stood upright, like a man, but broader. Shoulders wide as a doorway, and the face. It wasn't human, but it wasn't animal either. Or somewhere in between, flat nose, wide mouth. But those eyes, they're what keep me up at night. They looked intelligent, like it was thinking, calculating. When it hit my truck, I felt the whole rig shake. Left a dent in the hood bigger than a dinner plate. I've hit deer before, even a black bear once. This was different. This thing was strong, stronger than anything I've ever encountered. I couldn't report it properly, you know. Couldn't risk them finding out about my extracurriculars. So I kept quiet. But now y'all are forcing my hand. I don't know what I saw that night, but I know it weren't natural. And I know if I don't start talking, I'm gonna lose a lot more than just some cargo. What could I do? I sat there for a good long while, just trying to catch my breath. Part of me wanted to turn that rig around and hightail it out of there. but I had a delivery to make and I was already behind schedule. I got out, checked the damage on the hood. That's when I noticed the smell. Like wet dog and rotten leaves, but stronger. Made me gag. There was some kind of residue on the hood too. Sticky like tree sap, but darker. I thought about calling the cops, but what was I gonna say? Hey officer, I just got attacked by Bigfoot. Plus I couldn't risk them digging too deep, asking questions about my driving hours or other things. So I did what I always do. I kept driving. Made my delivery, told my boss some story about hitting a deer. But I ain't been the same since. Every time I drive that stretch of road, I'm looking over my shoulder, waiting for it to come back. Yeah, one more thing. To anyone listening to this, be careful out there. There's things in this world we don't understand, things that ain't supposed to exist. And if you're ever driving down a dark, lonely road in the middle of the night, keep your eyes on the trees.
Alright, let me lay it out for you straight. Last night was the craziest, most fucked up night of my life. I ain't the smartest guy around, but I ain't some dumbass either. I work the graveyard shift at that shitty gas station off Route 9, the one that smells like piss and burnt coffee. I've been doing this gig for years, just trying to scrape by. Nothing ever happens out here except the occasional drunk pissing himself by the pumps or some tweaker looking to score. But last night, Jesus Christ, it was like something straight out of one of those trashy horror flicks, but real, and it scared the living shit out of me. So, there I was, half asleep behind the counter, flipping through some old magazine I found under the register, when I hear this ungodly scream from outside. I'm talking the kind of scream that makes your balls crawl back up inside you and look out the window. And there he is, a trucker, big dude, built like a brick shithouse, just standing there frozen like he saw a ghost. But it wasn't no ghost, hell no. Before I could even scratch my ass, this huge hairy motherfucker, like fucking Bigfoot's pissed off cousin, bursts out of the woods and grabs the trucker, just snatches him up like he was a goddamn Happy Meal toy and drags him into the trees. And I'm sitting there, slack-jawed like an idiot, watching this shit go down. I'm not proud of it, but my first instinct was, fuck this, I ain't going out there. You'd have to be dumb as shit to try and play hero in a situation like that. I'd rather be a live coward than a dead idiot, thank you very much. But then, a couple of people who were pumping gas saw it too, and they come sprinting into the station, screaming their heads off. So, what do? I slam that door shut, lock it up tight, and we're all standing there in the middle of the store, breathing like we just ran a goddamn marathon. I'm trying to get my brain to catch up with what I just saw, and meanwhile, one of these assholes grabs a bag of chips off the shelf. Another one heads straight for the cooler and pulls out a soda. I'm like, whoa, hold up. What the fuck do you think you're doing? They look at me like I'm the crazy one. I tell them, look, I get it, we're all freaked out, but you can't just take shit, you gotta pay for it. And of course they start bitching at me. One guy's like, I left my wallet in my truck and I'm not going back out there. The lady's whining that she doesn't have her purse. And I'm standing there trying not to lose my shit, telling them, I don't give a fuck if the goddamn Loch Ness Monster is out there. You're not taking anything unless you pay for it. They start getting in my face, calling me every name in the book, but I ain't backing down. I tell them, you think I'm doing this for fun? I got bills to pay, rent to due, and a boss will have my ass if shit goes missing. You think he gives a flying fuck about Bigfoot or whatever the hell that was? No, he cares about the bottom line. So either pay up, or you ain't getting shit. It got real tense, real fast. I thought for sure someone was going to throw a punch. I wasn't about to let them walk all over me, no matter how fucked up the night was. Finally, the cops show up, all slow and casual, like they were just coming in for donuts. They head out into the woods with their flashlights, trying to find the trucker, and of course they come back empty-handed. No sign of the guy, no sign of anything. They look at me like I'm some kind of lunatic when I tell them what happened. One of them even asks if I've been drinking. Can you believe that shit? But the other folks backed me up, so that shut them up real quick. But here's the part that's got me all twisted up inside. After the cops left, I did a quick inventory check, just to make sure nothing else was missing. That's when I noticed the back storage shed, the one where we keep the frozen meat and beef jerky, had been broken into. But it wasn't your normal break-in. The lock wasn't cut or anything like that. No, the fucking thing was torn off. Like something with claws or some freakish strength just ripped it right off the hinges. And all the meat? Gone. Every last bit of it. Not a single trace left behind. Now I'm sitting here trying to make sense of all this bullshit. Did that thing come back while we were inside? Did it break in and steal the meat? And what the fuck kind of creature does that? I don't know. I don't want to know. All I know is that I'm never going to look at these woods the same way again. And on top of all that, I got to deal with a bunch of missing inventory. Even in the middle of a goddamn monster attack, I still got to count the pennies. That's my life, folks. Ain't it just fucking grand?
All right, let's get real about this Sasquatch thing. I know, most people think it's just some tall tale, a joke to tell around the campfire. But honestly, there's more going on here than most folks are willing to admit, and it's driving me up the wall that no one's taking it seriously. Here's the deal. Every time we chop down another forest to build another strip mall or slap up some cookie-cutter suburban nightmare, we're not just wrecking the environment, we're pushing deeper into what might actually be Sasquatch territory. And surprise, surprise, we start getting more sightings and so-called attacks. What do people want to do about it? Grab their rifles and go on a Bigfoot hunt. It's ridiculous. And about those stories of families supposedly getting killed by Bigfoot, give me a break. More people die in car accidents on the way to the grocery store than in any Sasquatch encounter.
TV 12 News, I'm Wendy Reed. Denis Castonguay, a local father of two, reported the disappearance of his wife and children after a weekend camping trip turned into a nightmare. Castonguay, 54, claimed that his family was abducted by none other than Bigfoot, the legendary creature of North American folklore. The family had been camping in a remote area of the northern Ontario, Canada wilderness when, according to Castonguay, a massive, hairy creature emerged from the forest and took his wife, Barbara, 32, and their two young children, her ages 5 and 7. Castonguay returned to the campsite only to find their tent and belongings abandoned. Police, however, conducted an investigation and have determined there is no evidence to support Castonguay's claims. According to authorities, the evidence suggests that Barbara Castonguay left her husband voluntarily and took the children with her. Officers believe this may have been a planned departure rather than an abduction. This is Wendy Reed, TV 12 News reporting.
My name's Castonguay. I'm a northerner. And let me tell you something. My life ended in the summer of '92. We were supposed to be on a goddamn camping trip, just me, Barbara, and the kids, deep in the northern Ontario boreal forest. Just a normal family getaway, right? But guess what? I'm the only one who came back. My wife, my two beautiful kids, they're gone. Vanished. The cops, those useless fucks, they didn't find a damn thing. You know what they told me? They said Barbara used the trip as an excuse to run off with the kids. Run off? Are you fucking kidding me? You think my wife would do that? She loved those kids more than life itself. She wouldn't just disappear like that. No, it wasn't Barbara. It was those goddamn Sasquatch. We were out just trying to have a nice, quiet camping trip. Me, Barbara, and the kids. Just a family looking to get away from all the bullshit of the world. So there I am, just stepped away from the campsite to take a fucking crap in the woods. Nothing out of the ordinary, right? But while I'm squatting there, I start hearing these fucking noises. Heavy footsteps, branches snapping, something big moving around. At first, I thought it was just a moose or some shit, but then it hit me. This wasn't right. It felt off. Wrong in a way I can't fucking explain. I got back to the campsite, and it was dead fucking silent. Not a sound, not a whisper. The fire was still going, the tent was right where we left it, but Barbara and the kids, gone. Just fucking gone, like they'd been erased from the face of the earth. I called out for them, started running around like a madman, but there was nothing. No answer, no sign of them anywhere. It was like the fucking forest swallowed them whole. And then I found the hair. Thick, coarse, dark as hell, stuck to a branch near the campsite. This wasn't from any normal animal, this was something else, something that shouldn't fucking exist. Those hairy bastards were watching us, stalking us, just waiting for the right moment. They waited until I was gone for a few minutes, and then they fucking took them. My wife, my kids, my whole fucking life. So yeah, I'm fucking angry. I'm beyond angry. I'm fucking livid. I'm gonna find those fuckers, and when I do, I'll make them pay. It's time to hunt these motherfuckers down and wipe them off the face of the earth. And I swear to God I won't stop until every last one of those monsters is dead. I've had it with the bullshit. I'm getting together with some real men, hunters who know how to track, who know how to kill. And we're not playing games. We're gonna find those fuckers no matter where they're hiding, no matter how deep in the woods they think they're safe.
Now, off the record, let me just say this. The people who want to hunt down Sasquatch are, let's be honest, a bunch of uneducated backwoods rednecks. They're not conservationists, they're not scientists, they're just looking for an excuse to shoot something and brag about it later. It's pathetic, really. But here's the thing, Sasquatch, or whatever you want to call it, these creatures are getting forced out of their natural habitats because we keep bulldozing everything in sight. And instead of addressing that, these morons want to go play hunter in the woods. Brilliant. You know what I'd love to see? Sasquatch classified as an endangered species, not just because it might actually be real, but because it would be a perfect way to stop these developers from paving over every last bit of green space we've got left. Imagine that, slap a Bigfoot habitat label on a forest and suddenly it's protected. No more condos, no more shopping centers, no more pointless construction. I'd love to see those developers try to work around that.
Recording will begin now. Go ahead, Dr. Ashford.
I'm Dr. William Ashford, a bryologist residing in the Pacific Northwest, where I've spent my career exploring the biochemical secrets of mosses and their interactions with the environment. My research, including the thesis, The Evolution of Secondary Metabolites in Bryophytes, has led to the discovery of Bryophyta eximius, a moss altered by exposure to Bigfoot's biological excretions. This moss, I believe, is used by Bigfoot to brainwash human captives.
Hold on, Dr. Ashford. When you say semi-lucidity, what exactly are you talking about, and how does moss play into this?
One of the most compelling cases supporting my theory involves a woman named Jennifer, who was discovered wandering in a heavily wooded area of the Midwest. She had been missing for years and was found in an apparent drug-induced state, disoriented but able to communicate. I'm convinced that Jennifer had been held by a Bigfoot clan, kept in this semi-lucid state by B. eximius until her body developed enough tolerance to its effects.
And this moss is different from regular moss. How? I mean, moss is just moss, right?
Not in this case. There's a new breed of moss, something so profoundly altered that even I hesitate to touch it without protection.
Okay, thicker moss, got it. But what's really making it so dangerous?
The danger lies in its secondary metabolites. These are chemicals the moss produces only after it's been exposed to certain substances, likely Bigfoot secretions.
So you're saying this moss not only messes with people's heads, but it's like a superdrug?
In a sense, yes. When these compounds are absorbed, they cause a powerful psychotropic effect. People become digestible, almost like under hypnosis, even when that environment includes factors we don't fully understand. The moss's ability to produce such a complex array of neuroactive compounds in response to these secretions is unprecedented in my field. So with that said, Constable Darling, can I call my lawyer now? Also, am I going to be held overnight?
It's important to note that Dr. William Ashford was found wandering naked in a resort parking lot near the Cascade Mountains Rec Center. Mr. Ashford appeared to be a state of semi-lucidity. It was discovered by a group of Christian scientists on a holiday retreat who promptly reported the incident.
52, a secret text. Delta 9A, government's best. Something went wrong deep in the night, created a moss of unholy might. Beware the Bigfoot moss, nature's revenge at any cost. They're growing strong, they're growing tall, nature's revenge for us all. Mutagenic spores on the breeze, Bigfoot creatures hide in the trees. Hikers vanish without a sound in forests where the moss is found. Beware the Bigfoot moss, nature's revenge at any cost. They're growing strong, growing tall, Bigfoot's coming for us all. Venture near the forest edge where Bigfoot moss grows on the ledge. They're waiting there with fists of stone to punish those who won't leave them alone. The government's in from long ago. Now we reap what they did sow.
While making this documentary, we interviewed a former Hopi deputy who in the 1970s encountered a series of startling winged creature attacks on his reservation. He believes there is a connection with Bigfoot.
You know, listening to these tapes, connecting the dots, it's bringing back old memories, old suspicions. There were rumors back in the day, whispers about a crash up in the north back in the 50s. Some kind of government experiments that went wrong. They called it Delta 9. No, I'm not one for conspiracy theories, but after what I've seen, what I've heard, you start to wonder. Those bat attacks I investigated all those years ago, the strange behavior we saw. What if it wasn't just some freak occurrence? What if it was the start of something bigger?
Good evening, this is Wenda Reed for TV 12 News. Tragedy struck last night when a tent collapsed during an unauthorized Chautauqua tent revival just outside city limits, claiming 3 lives and injuring many. The tent was erected by controversial preacher Samuel Blackwood, who had been denied city permits due to his inflammatory sermons. Blackwood set up just beyond the county line, apparently to circumvent local ordinances. Among the deceased were Miss Alma Hopkins, 86, Jacob Quinn, 17, and an 8-year-old girl whose name is withheld. County engineer Lisa Fernandez cited metal fatigue and substandard materials as the likely cause. Sheriff Thomas Riley dismissed Blackwood's claims of a Bigfoot attack as unfounded. Mayor Carlos Vasquez promised a full investigation, expressing condolences while defending the city's earlier decision to deny permits. We'll continue to follow this developing story. For TV 12 News, I'm Wenda Reed.
I suppose it doesn't really matter anymore, does it? You want to know what happened, so I'll tell you. But let me assure you, Detective, the truth isn't going to bring anyone back, nor will it make sense of the senseless. It simply is like the ticking of a clock or the setting of the sun. The city council rejected my request to set up in town. said my sermons were too severe, that I was stirring up unnecessary fear. Fear. As if a man of God should peddle in comfort when the world is hanging by a thread. But that's neither here nor there. I found a piece of land outside the city limits, out past the old fields where the earth has long been left to its own devices. It wasn't much, just enough space for the tent, the pulpit, and a few rows of folding chairs. But it was quiet, and no one came to bother us out there. The crowds were small, a handful of souls, drawn perhaps more by curiosity than conviction. I preached, as I always did, fire and brimstone, the end times, the great unraveling of all that man has built. I spoke of the contrails in the sky, the poison they rained down on us, the Russian satellites spying from above, twisting the weather to their will. They listened, some nodded, others stared, but it was all routine by then, just another night, another sermon. Then the boy walked in. He couldn't have been more than 10, maybe 12. Bloodied, clothes torn, eyes vacant like he wasn't really seeing us. He held a knife in his little hand, the blade slick with blood. The room went quiet. You could hear the breath catch in everyone's throat. I didn't move, just watched as he stumbled to the front of the tent, that knife hanging by his side. When he spoke, his voice was flat, mechanical. He said he was at the outhouse when it happened. Said something attacked him, something small but strong like a child but covered in hair. Called it a little Bigfoot, if you can believe that. Said he fought it, stabbed it, and killed it. I remember feeling nothing really, just a kind of cold detachment. You see, Detective, by that point, I'd seen so much, heard so much, that nothing seemed real anymore. I asked him where this creature was, and he just pointed out toward the trees. That's when they came. It was like the forest itself came alive. A family, I suppose you'd call them, though they were nothing like us. Tall, broad, covered in matted fur, with eyes that gleamed in the dark like embers. They moved so fast, too fast to be real. The people in the tent started screaming, running, but it was no use. There was Mrs. Alma Hopkins, God-fearing woman, in her late 80s. I remember her as a frail thing, always sitting in the front row, Bible clutched in her hands, like it was the only thing keeping her tethered to this world. She had this habit of nodding along to every word I said, eyes closed, lips moving in silent prayer. When the creatures came, she was the first to go. One of them, the biggest of the bunch, lunged at her with a speed that defied its size. It grabbed her by the shoulders, lifted her clean off the ground. I'll never forget the sound, the crack of her bones as it squeezed. Her body folded like a broken doll, and then it tossed her aside, lifeless, like she was nothing. Then there was Jacob, a boy of 17, eager and full of that youthful fire. He came to the tent every night, hoping to find some kind of meaning in the madness I preached. He always wore the same thing, a worn denim jacket and a cross around his neck. When the creatures broke through, he tried to fight. Picked up a chair and swung it at the nearest one, but it was hopeless. The creature barely flinched. It grabbed him by the throat, lifting him so high his feet dangled inches off the ground. He clawed at his arm, face turning purple as he struggled for breath. It didn't kill him quick, though. No, it held him there, watching as he gasped, eyes bulging, and then, with a flick of its wrist, it snapped his neck like a twig. Just let him drop lifeless, the cross still swinging from his neck. And then there was little Sarah, 8 years old, with a head full of blonde curls and a voice as sweet as a lark. She'd come with her parents, but in the chaos they got separated. I saw her standing there, eyes wide, frozen in fear as the creatures descended. One of them, a smaller one, maybe the child of the larger beasts, spotted her and made a beeline for the girl. She didn't even scream, just stared at it with those big, innocent eyes. It slashed at her with its claws, and the blood, it was everywhere. A single swipe, and her tiny body crumpled to the ground. Her white dress, once so clean and pure, was soaked in red, and that lark-like voice was silenced forever. The tent was a slaughterhouse, detective. Blood, screams, the ripping of flesh. And I just watched, frozen, until I didn't anymore, until I walked away. I watched, and for a moment I almost stayed, but then I remembered the other exit, the one I'd had installed for emergencies. You see, I'd always had this feeling, a premonition maybe, that I'd need a way out. Thought it'd be debt collectors, or maybe just a madman angry at the word I was preaching, or never thought it'd be that. I slipped out the back, walked straight to the car I kept hidden under some brush, and drove away. Didn't look back, not once. The screams faded quickly, drowned out by the engine, and then there was only silence. I know what you're thinking, detective. You think I'm mad that I imagined it all. But does it really matter? Whether it was real or not, those people are gone, and I'm here, telling you what happened. You can write it off however you like, mass hysteria, unexplained violence, doesn't matter to me. You'll lock me up, throw away the key, say I'm a danger to myself and others. Maybe I am. But the truth, detective, the truth is that I walked away. I left them there to die, and now I'm the last one who knows what really happened, and I'll carry that with me until my dying breath, which, considering where I'm headed, may not be too far off. So that's it. That's all there is. Make of it what you will.
It's been 20 years and I still can't get that night out of my head. I was out in the woods just trying to figure myself out, you know? I'd had enough of the grind, work, relationships, all that crap. I needed to get away from it all, just me and nature, trying to clear my head and find out who I really was. It was getting late, the sun was just starting to set, and there I was, setting up my camp near this clearing. And then I saw it. This massive figure just standing there at the edge of the trees. At first I thought it was a bear or something, but no, it was something else. A Sasquatch. Yeah, I know how that sounds, but I swear to you it was real. Huge, muscular, covered in dark fur that almost glowed in the fading light. But the thing is, it wasn't just scary, it was sexy. I mean, really sexy in a way I can't even explain. There was something about it that just drew me in, something raw and powerful. I couldn't stop looking at it, and the more I stared, the more I felt this heat rising in me. My heart was pounding, my skin felt like it was on fire, and all I could think about was getting closer to it, feeling its body against mine. It was like nothing I'd ever felt before, this primal lust that took over me. I wanted it badly, I wanted it to want me. So I started taking off my clothes. It wasn't even a conscious decision. It just felt like the right thing to do. I wanted to show it I was open, that I was ready for whatever was about to happen. I stood there naked in the middle of the woods, just waiting for it to come to me. I thought maybe if I looked vulnerable, if I offered myself to it, it would feel that same pull, that same need. And it did come closer, slowly, like it was curious. I could feel my breath catch in my throat as it got nearer. And for a second, I really thought something was going to happen. I was so ready for it, just aching for it to touch me, to take me. But then it just sniffed me. It leaned in, smelled my hair, my skin, and then it backed off. I saw this look in its eyes, like I was something gross, something not worth its time. I just stood there, totally exposed, feeling like a complete idiot as it turned and walked away. Leaving me standing there, naked and humiliated, that moment has haunted me for 20 years. I can't stop thinking about it, replaying it in my mind, wondering what I did wrong. I wanted it so badly, and it just walked away like I wasn't good enough. No matter what I do, I can't shake it. It's like a scar on my soul, this constant reminder of that one night in the woods when I was so ready to give myself over to something wild and powerful, only to be left standing there naked and alone. How do you move on from something like that? How do you forget the night you got rejected by a damn Sasquatch?
Good evening. I'm Wendy Reed with an update on a story that has captivated our community. Dennis Castonguay, the local father who made headlines earlier this year by claiming that his family was abducted by Bigfoot, has been arrested in the shooting death of survivalist Mick Bouchard, along with 2 other survival hobbyists on charges of poaching. Authorities discovered several dead animals belonging to rare endangered species, sparking outrage among conservationists. Castonguay, however, denies any wrongdoing. He claims that he wasn't poaching, but rather seeking revenge on the family of Bigfoot, who he insists kidnapped his wife and children during a camping trip in northern Ontario. Police and conservation game wardens conducted a thorough search of the area where Castonguay and his companions were apprehended. Despite his claims, they found no evidence of the supposed Bigfoot family. What they did find were the remains of several protected animals, leading to the charges against Castonguay and the others involved. Castonguay has pleaded not guilty to charges of manslaughter. Falsifying evidence and trafficking weapons across state lines. This development has only added another layer of controversy to the already bizarre case, leaving the community divided between those who sympathize with Castonguay's grief and those who condemn his actions. We'll continue to follow this story as it unfolds. For TV 12 News, I'm Wendy Reed.
You think this fucking cell can hold me? You think these bars are gonna keep the rage in? Fuck you. You don't know the first goddamn thing about what I've been through. You sit there in your goddamn uniforms, acting like you're the law, like you know right from wrong, but you're nothing. Nothing. You're just a bunch of pencil-pushing, donut-munching cocksuckers who wouldn't know justice if it came up and bit you on your fat asses. You think you're heroes because you put me in cuffs? Because you hauled me in here like some goddamn criminal? Or Jesus H. Christ, you don't know shit about what's really out there. My wife, Barbara, she was my fucking world. My kids, they were everything to me. And those hairy bastards took them from me. They tore my life apart like it was nothing, and you laugh, you arrest me for trying to get some goddamn justice. So yeah, I hooked up with some real men, some guys who aren't afraid to take matters into their own hands because this fucking system failed me. You want names? It wasn't easy finding them, but I was desperate. When I finally made contact, they didn't believe me at first. They thought I was just another nut job, another desperate man driven to the edge by grief. But when I showed them the photos, what was left of our campsite, the claw marks, the blood, they started to listen. Frankie was the first one to agree. He saw the rage in my eyes, and it lit something in him. He knew I wasn't bullshitting. But here's the thing, these guys, they don't work for free. I had to sell everything. Everything. The house, the car, all the savings we had left. I even pawned off Barbara's wedding ring just to get enough cash to fund this operation. Sweet Jesus, do you know what it feels like to sell the last pieces of the life you had just to get enough firepower to bring down those hairy bastards? It was the hardest thing I've ever done, but I didn't have a choice. I couldn't let them get away with it. I couldn't let my family's death be for nothing. I handed over the money in cash, every last cent, and that's when they started taking me seriously. These are the kinds of people who don't ask questions because they already know the answers. The women, man, they're a different breed. They patch up wounds, load ammo faster than the men, and keep everyone alive out there. Most loyal, dedicated people I've ever seen. Men were men, and women were women. Ain't no gray area with them. So off we went. Frankie brought his M16, and Jack showed up with his sniper rifle, that Winchester that could end a man's life from across a field. Mick, that psycho, rolled up with his Calico M950, modified to unleash a hail of bullets that would make a SWAT team piss their pants. They had the weapons, the experience, and now they had the money. All they needed was the target, and I gave it to them. We went back to that campsite, to where those monsters butchered my family. Days we spent in those woods, eyes peeled, guns ready. We knew they were out there, watching us. And then they came for us, just like they did for Barbara and my kids. Holy Jesus, those hairy bastards bit off more than they could chew. Frankie let loose with that M16, and it was like a goddamn thunderstorm of bullets. Should have seen it, NATO rounds, ripping through those furry fucks, turning them into red mist. Jack was picking them off. One shot, one kill, like it was a goddamn video game. And Mick laughing like a madman. Those hairy bastards thought they were the top of the food chain. Not that day. We turned those woods into a slaughterhouse. But then, in the middle of the chaos, I saw them. Jesus fucking Christ, I saw them. At the back, half covered in moss, moving like ghosts, Barbara. My kids. They were alive, but they weren't. They were fucking changed, twisted into something else. I called out to them, screamed their names, but Barbara just looked at me with those dead eyes and turned away. She took the kids and ran into the woods, leaving me like I was nothing. Like everything we had was nothing. And then those little Bigfoot shits, the ones that were still breathing, started wailing, crying for their dead parents. I told the guys to finish them, to wipe out every last one of those hairy bastards. But Mick, the glory boy, suddenly turned fucking coward. He hesitated, talked some bullshit about these Bigfoot ducklings being just kids. I pulled out my dad's Army-issued 1911, same pistol that won 2 world goddamn fucking wars. Square at the pear spot of his damned kisser, straight to the brain. And I told him, shoot now, goddammit. But idiot boy shook his head no and threw down his Calico damn piece of shit, broke apart, hitting a tree truck. It's really like those bomb runs over Dresden during the war, and your bombardier suddenly grows a conscience and doesn't want to rain fire on those Kraut bastards. The captain has very limited choices, and that involves executions on the spot for insubordination, and that's what I was simply doing. A wartime field command decision. People snap, it happens. You take a farm boy, put him in a flying contraption with enough tonnage to wipe out a city, and you tell him, press the button to initiate. Sometimes their brain snaps like a twig. One thing for certain, if they were boys that went off on those missions, they sure as hell came back as men. Mick was the same damn thing, different time but the same war against the brutes. Remember those World War II posters? The ones they'd put outside of recruitment depots, showing a damn gorilla with a Kaiser helmet holding a naked girl with a club covered in blood. Indy, the words, destroy this mad brute. So I shot the gutless bastard myself. He was dead even before he hit the ground, and finished the job myself. I aimed my dad's 1911, same one he used for Victory at Guadalcanal, and I started picking off those little hairy brutes. Easier than shooting fish in a barrel. I made sure there was nothing left of them, nothing but blood and fur scattered across the ground. Then it was silence, pure silence, gun smoke, the smell of blood, silence and victory. After that, we knew you were coming. We could hear the sirens in the distance. We simply put our weapons down and waited. Frankie and Jack each pulled out a Mickey and had a sip of the firewater. You could tell that all that Glory Boy claptrap was finally done. It was out of their system. They've seen enough blood and death. They offered me swig, but I told them no thanks. As of this moment, I just quit drinking. My job is done here. And when your lot showed up, with your sirens and your guns, I didn't care. I didn't fight. What was the point? My family's gone, those hairy bastards are dead, and I got what I wanted, a pound of flesh. So go ahead. Lock me up, throw me in the darkest hole you've got. It doesn't matter. You'll never understand what I've lost, what I had to do. But maybe one day, when those hairy bastards come for you, you'll wish you'd listened. You'll wish you'd believed. Because they're still out there, and you're all just too fucking blind to see it.
Classified accident report date, June 13th, 1952 subject. Incident report, Operation Silent Winds clearance level, code black incident summary. On June 12th, 1952, at 0400 hours, an aircraft transporting agent Delta 9A crashed during Operation Silent Winds. The mission was to deliver 1,000 gallons of a classified gene-altering chemical to a bioweapons facility codenamed Arctic Claw. Agent Delta 9. A tetrahydro-7-methyl-1-dioxol-4-YL-5-nitrobenzene is a mutagenic compound causing extreme physiological transformations resembling Bigfoot in animals. Its half-life is estimated at 3,000 years. Recent observations indicate the compound affects vegetation, creating a highly transmissible and dangerous hybrid species dubbed Bigfoot moss, exhibiting both animal and plant characteristics with accelerated sporogenesis. The aircraft was a modified C-123 provider with advanced countermeasures. Agent Delta 9A was stored in a triple-sealed titanium container. The cockpit was sealed from the cargo hold, and the ejection seat was removed as per code black protocols. At 0400 hours, the aircraft experienced catastrophic engine and hydraulic failure, resulting in a flat spin. The final transmission at 0404 hours indicated an unrecoverable descent before crashing in the northwestern United States. A recovery team found the wreckage scattered over a wide area. Pilot's remains were not recovered. Traces of Agent Delta 9A were detected, with a portion released into the environment. Subsequent reports of unidentified creatures and rapidly spreading anomalous vegetation have been suppressed. Future missions should incorporate additional redundancies in critical systems and enhanced containment protocols. The wreckage site remains under observation, with specialized response teams on standby for emergent situations, including potential widespread Bigfoot mosses contamination. Classified, distribution restricted.
The Bigfoot experience, often dismissed as myth or legend, carries a dire warning that we cannot afford to ignore. As we continue to push the boundaries of our housing developments, mining the forests for resources, and attempting to conquer the last remaining wild spaces, we're not just destroying the natural world, we're courting a force we barely understand. Often seen as a relic of folklore, represents the unknown power that resides within the depths of these forests. Our relentless drive to expand and exploit the land mirrors the destructive patterns of colonialism, where the desire for control and profit blinds us to the dangers we may be unleashing. In the end, the Bigfoot experience serves as a stark reminder that our attempts to dominate the natural world comes with serious risks. If we do not heed this warning, if we continue to press forward with our developments and our exploitation of the land, we may find ourselves facing an unknown force that could imperil our very existence. We must tread carefully, or we may truly awaken a sleeping giant, a giant of which we, as a people,